Yaddle does not talk like Yoda. Yaddle does not speak backwards. So Yaddle speaks normally. So do the rest of Yoda species talk like Yaddle or do they talk like Yoda? And obviously we have no idea, but let's speculate using some of the information we have. So, back in Legends, there was a Jedi Master on the Council named Vandar Tokar during the Old Republic, and Vandar Tokar was the same species as Yoda and Yaddle, and Vandar Tokar talked normally. Vandar Tokar did not speak backwards, he talked like a normal person. And there were other members of Yoda's species as well. So, it was theorized back in the expanded universe legends that Vandar Tokar and Yaddle were taken to the Jedi Temple at a much younger age, so they just learned how to speak at the Jedi Temple and they learned how to talk the normal way. Whereas Yoda in Legends Expanded Universe was already like 100 years old when he was stranded on Dagobah because he had been going to search for a job, but he ended up getting stranded on Dagobah and rescued by a Jedi Master. So by that point, Yoda had already learned to talk. So it was believed that maybe Yoda is the one who talks more like the rest of their species. Now, in canon, we only have Yaddle, Yoda, and Grogu, Baby Yoda. And so Grogu Baby Yoda does not talk yet, and maybe it's because he doesn't like to talk, but it's probably more because he's a baby, and in real life, babies can't really talk that much either. They can like make sounds like Grogu does, but they can't talk too well. So back in the High Republic and in Tales of the Jedi, Yaddle talks normally. She talks in a forward way. She does not talk backwards at all. And Yoda always talks backwards in all legends and in all canons, so it goes back to we don't know. Now, it's possible that all members of Yoda's species actually do talk normally and they do talk like normal human beings, but maybe Yoda just likes to talk that way because maybe he talked that way once and it just became a habit and he just felt like doing it. Or maybe people thought that Yoda was really smart when he started talking backwards, so he just kept it as a habit and he just kept talking backwards because it made people think he was smart. Or Yoda is much older. He's like 900, 800, whereas Yaddle is only 500, 400. I think she's like 477. So maybe back in Yoda's day, the language was actually different where people used to talk differently because in real life, all the languages we know now, all the human languages we know now, they were very different hundreds of years ago. So 800 years ago, English was not the same as it is now. So very possibly Yoda might be just using the language that was used who knows how many centuries ago. Also, maybe Yoda has a stutter, maybe Yoda has difficulty speaking and he has some speaking abnormalities, so the only way he can express himself is to talk backwards, and so he has trouble with speech and talking. Even though he's really smart and stuff, he has trouble with speech and talking, so the only way he can voice his stuff is if he talks backwards, so maybe that's a personal issue that he has. Or maybe Yoda is just perfectly capable of talking normally, but he just loves to mess with people or something. Now, out of universe, apparently Frank Oz in his headcanon, Frank Oz personally liked to think that Yoda talks backwards to honor his Jedi Master, who in canon is not known at all. So that's another possibility. And of course, the Tales of the Jedi writers and High Republic writers decided to make Yaddle talk normally. And back in Legends, the Old Republic writers decided to make Vandar Tokar talk normally. So it really goes to show the mystery of Yoda species and adds to their character. And my theory is that Yoda species probably have their own language and they have a much different language. So maybe Yoda had to learn the basic language, and so because maybe the normal language is a second language, he talks that way because in real life when people are learning other languages they might have an accent or not be able to speak the other language so well, so maybe that's Yoda's situation. So whatever the case is, we don't know what Yoda species talks like.